Hi, guys and gals. This is Al Smith here. Okay, today's lesson is going to be the first lesson in the response system when your partner opens one heart or one spade. Okay, and notice that this topic of this particular lesson is the first and the second seat. Okay, that's because the response system used in the third and fourth seat is very different than the response system used in the first and the second seat. So let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to do a quick mute of everybody. And hopefully I can get everything back. Okay, hopefully there we go. All right, so this lesson, is often overlooked, but it's really an important lesson. Okay, and just to make sure everybody understands, if you can't determine what your next planned bid is going to be, including pass, don't open. Okay, it's just like chess. You've got to look ahead and say, what are you going to do? So always have a good idea of what your second bid is going to be, independent of what your partner is going to respond. So if there's 10 different potential responses, think ahead. You want to know what the responses are going to be after each one of those. Okay, the opening decision factors, the most important is the hand shape, not points, the hand shape, then the strength of the hand, and the ability to control the auction. Okay, we'll talk about that some more, but the ability to control the auction becomes a very important consideration in certain situations. All right, now, in Standard American today, as long as you're using Standard American, if you open one heart, you're promising your partner 5+ hearts. If you open one spade, you're promising your partner 5+ spades. Okay, that's as opposed to the old Gorin system where they bid a lot of 4-card majors. Okay, nothing really wrong with that, except it makes the bidding system a lot more complicated and hard to understand. Now, the first requirement that I have for opening is that the hands have a losing trick count of greater than or equal to 7. Okay, using the 2, 3, 4 losing trick count system. The reason I like that losing trick count system is because it incorporates vulnerability. Remember, the most important thing about a hand of bridge is getting the best score, not making the contract. Okay, it's getting the best score. So if you can bid and go down 2 not vulnerable and get a -100, that may be the best score. Okay, but you don't want to go down 3 in certain situations, because a -150 is going to be a lot worse than a -110. Okay, so I use 2, 3, 4, both in the opening position and the overcall position, to determine whether my hand is strong enough for me to bid or me to force my partner to bid at the appropriate level. Okay, now there's other videos that talk about the 2, 3, 4 system. So if you're not familiar with it, you can go back and review it, but we'll be looking at that as part of this particular lesson too. Okay, now I also then use it meets the rule of 22. What the rule of 22 is, it says you need to have 2+ quick tricks, and that your adjusted high card points plus the cards in your 2 longest suits greater than or equal to 20. Notice I set adjusted high card points. If you've got a Queen Jack doubleton, you're going to count that as 3 high card points, right? However, it's only worth 1 because both of those honors are unguarded. So it's really critical that you count and value your hand correctly from the very beginning. Why do and the reason I use the rule of 22 is that way you're guaranteeing your partner both a guaranteed level of offensive and defensive strength. Now, there is an exception to these requirements up here, and this is when you're going to open one spade. I call it the one spade open exception, with 2 hearts as your planned second bid. All right, Now, okay, so as I said up here, it creates a solid foundation. Okay, so I'll describe this in a little more detail. Okay, if you use these criteria, what it does is allow you to distinguish among hands that are strong enough to open, weak enough to preempt, and hands that are too weak to open and too strong to preempt. Okay, there's three categories of hands. Most of us only address two. This last one becomes really important because if you pass and then you bid something later, you're defining your hand as one of those tweener hands. All right, we'll see a couple examples of that in this particular lesson. All right, so let's take a look at some examples and just discuss real briefly as to whether these hands should be opened. So in this first hand, okay, we've got to note the vulnerability. Here we're vulnerable, they're not vulnerable. That's unfavorable vulnerability. Okay, using the 2, 3, 4 method, the V factor is equal to 2. And I'll show you how that comes into play. So what we're going to do is we're going to count the number of losers that we have in this hand. We've got one. In clubs, we've got 2 losers. In diamonds, we have 2 losers. In hearts, we've got 2 losers. And in spades, we have 2 losers. So, well, we're only going to count tricks that are not an ace, king, or queen. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losers if we use the losing trick count method. So we start out with 7, we subtract 6, and we add 2 to it. And what that says is the result is 3. It says we are strong enough to open this hand up to the 3 level. Now, also we're really interested in is it's strong enough that it's greater than or equal to 1, so that it's strong enough to open. All right, we'll see some examples later on where that isn't necessarily true. So in terms of the losing trick count in this hand, it's strong enough to open. In quick tricks, there are no quick tricks. This is the ugliest hand you may ever get. Okay, so it has no immediate trick-taking capabilities. High card points, it's got 12 high card points. Okay, now, but we're going to subtract 4 points because we've got 2 unguarded queens and jacks. Those queens and jacks are not worth 3 points. They're worth only 1 in the initial valuation. Okay, if we take that and look at it in relationship to the rule of 2020 or 22, whatever we want to call it, you know, I call it the rule of 20 because it's 20 plus 2 quick tricks. We've got 8 plus 4 plus 5 equals 17. In no way should this hand ever be opened. It's just an ugly, ugly hand. All right, let's look at example number 2. In this one, we've got equal vulnerability. When you've got equal vulnerability, the 2, 3, 4 V factor is 3. So we've got 7 minus 7 plus 3. It says, yeah, we can open this hand if it's strong enough from a distributional standpoint, a losing trick standpoint to open. Quick tricks, we've got 1.5 quick tricks. Okay, the requirement I'm using is 2. High card points, we've got 12 minus 1. We've got that unguarded queen. We're going to subtract 1, gives us 11. Okay, we've got 11 plus 4 and 5, our 2 longest suits. That's equal to 20. So it meets the 20 requirement. It meets the 2, 3, 4 requirement, but it does not meet the quick trick requirement. So this is one of those tweener hands. Okay. It's not strong enough to open, and it's too strong to preempt. Okay, it's a relatively good hand. We're going to pass the first round. Okay, it doesn't mean we have to pass on the next round. Okay, because if we bid a heart on the 2 hearts on the 1 heart or 2 hearts on the second round, it's telling our partner that we have value. Our hand has values. Okay, let's look at number 3 here. Okay, in this one, we've got favorable vulnerability, so we can tolerate more risk. That's why the V factor is equal to 4. So we go through the calculation, and our result is 4. Does that mean we want to open 4 hearts? No, it just means that we're strong enough to open because it's greater than equal to 1. We're talking about opening bids right now. Okay, in terms of quick tricks, we've got 2.5 quick tricks. Good deal. High card points, we've got 10, 4, 7, 10, right? So that's equal to 10. We have no adjustments for unguarded honors. Okay, in the rule of 20, we've got 10 high card points, plus 6 plus 3 is 19. Okay, this again is a tweener hand. We're not strong enough to open because we've only got 19 and we don't have a planned second bid. We could say that we have a planned second bid of 2 hearts, but if we have every opportunity in the future to show our hearts later on. Okay, so we don't want to mislead our partner by telling our partner that we have a stronger hand than what we actually have. Now let's look at example number 4. All right, this hand gets a little bit more interesting. We've got unfavorable vulnerability, so the B factor is equal to 2. We're vulnerable, they're not vulnerable. So we got 7 minus 7 plus 2. If we count we'll do this one. We got 1, 2, 3 losers, 4, 5, 6 losers, 7 losers. Okay, we don't count anything beyond the suit can't have more than 3 losers. So the 2 says we're capable of opening we're capable of opening. Quick tricks, we've got 1.5 quick tricks. Okay, 8 minus 7 in terms of high card points. Okay, again, we are not strong enough to open. Okay, I'm just showing you how we failed different criteria. Let's look at this one here. Okay, we've got a fairly nice hand here. All right, we've got 7 minus 7 is the base. We've got 5 losers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losers. Okay, B factor, because of equal vulnerability, is equal to 3. So our result is 5. 5 is a big number. It says that we got a powerful hand here. Quick tricks, we've got 2. We get 1.5 for the ace queen, and we get a half for the king. So we've got 2 quick tricks. High card points, we've got 10 minus 1. Okay, we've got 4, 6, 9, 10. That jack is unguarded. Don't count a point for it. Subtract it. You've only got 9. We're going to look at the rule of 20 now. Okay, we've got 9 plus 6 plus 5, that's 11 equals to 20. So we're going to open this hand 1 spade because its shape, its points, its trick-taking values, capabilities are good. And we want to open this hand. Okay, now let's take a look at this next one here, where we've got favorable vulnerability. We're not vulnerable, they're vulnerable. B factor is equal to 4. We calculate it out, and now we've got a huge hand because the B factor the 2, 3, 4 result came out to be 8. Now, how are we going to bid this hand? Okay, that's one of the real questions. Okay, let's take a look at the quick tricks. We've got 5 quick tricks. 2 for the ace king, 2 for the ace king, 1 for the ace. So we've got 5. High card points, we've got 18, no unguarded honors. The rule of 20 is equal to 29. This is a huge hand. So what are we going to open? We're going to actually open 2 clubs. Okay, now I put this example in here specifically because it's a 2 suited hand. Okay, I only use 2 clubs for a strong hand with a 2 suited hand with less than or equal to 3 losers because it creates enough room for you to show both suits. Okay, if it's a 1 suitor, 2 clubs, I open with less than or equal to 4 losers. But you wouldn't want to open this 1 spade because you're too strong. Okay, now some might argue that you might want to open 1 diamond and do a reverse later. But since you're strong enough, less than or equal to 3 losers, okay, you got 1, 2, 3. You're going to want to open that 1, 2 clubs. All right, now let's take a look at what I defined earlier as the exception hand, where you're going to open 1 spade in first or second seat. Okay, and you're going to do this because no other bidding sequence is available to show the shape of the hand. Okay, so you've got cards in both if you've got cards in both majors, it gives you the ability to control the auction and obstruct the opponents. Okay, because if you're controlling the majors, they're going to be bidding in the minors. So it gives you a capability of getting in their face and obstructing them. Okay, the exceptions occurs when you've got your planned bid is second bid is going to be 2 hearts. And this only applies when your hand shapes are 6 spades and 6 hearts, 6 spades and 5 hearts, 5 in the majors, or 5 spades and 4 hearts. The reason for this is that your planned second bid is 2 hearts. Now, this was a correction, but I went through this a little bit earlier. The 2, 3, 4's got to be greater than or equal to 1. All that says is you're capable of opening to 1 level. I had 2 here before, but that was an error. All right, now you still need to have 2 plus quick tricks. Okay, you want to be able to guarantee your partner a minimum amount of offensive and defensive strength. Okay, now instead of the meeting the rule of 20, here I define it as meeting the adjusted high card points plus the 2 longest suits as being greater than or equal to 18. And the reason is that you know what your second bid is going to be. It's going to be 2 hearts. Okay, and it's designed to obstruct the opponents and hopefully be able to steal the auction or find game when you have it. All right, so let's take a look at some of these examples with respect to the exceptions. Okay, now in this one here, 2, 3, 4, we're vulnerable and they're not again. So we're going to calculate 2, 3, 4. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, we're going to count that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 losers. So it does come out to 1. We're strong enough to open. Okay, but we only have 1 quick trick. That queen is not a half a quick trick. Okay, so we only have the ace as a quick trick. We've got 11 high card points, but we've got to subtract 2 because that queen jack is unguarded. Okay, when we put this together, it comes out to we're 18. Now, we've satisfied 2 out of the 3 criteria. We're 2, 3, 4 says 1, which says we're strong enough. And the rule of 20, because this is an exception hand, is equal to 18. We're strong. That says that we should be able to open that because of the shape of the hand. We've got both majors, but we're too weak in terms of the quick tricks. We don't want to violate that. We want our partner to feel that we're always going to promise those 2 quick tricks for both the offensive and the defensive strength. If they can take that to the bank, it's going to make their bidding a lot easier. Let's look at a second example here. All right. In this case, we're 5-5. All right. Now, and let's look at this. We've got our 2, 3, 4 comes out to be 2. Now, on a relative basis, 2 is better than 1. Okay, in terms of quick tricks, we've got 2. There's 2 aces. It's getting better all the times. In terms of high card points, we've only got 8. Well, 8 is less than 9, so that's not real good. But okay, now in terms of the rule of 20, we've got 8 plus 5 is equal to 18. Guess what? We satisfy all 3 criteria. 2, 3, 4 says we're strong enough. We've got 2 quick tricks, and we meet the requirement for 18. So what we're going to do is going to open this hand 1 spade. And it's obviously what our second bid is going to be. It's going to be 2 hearts. Okay, we're going to give our partner the opportunity to choose between our 2 majors. Okay, and even if the opponents have a really good hand, we're going to be in the mix and potentially find a place that we can make a good contract or even sacrifice. Let's look at this third example here. In this one, we have 5 hearts and 4 spades. Okay. Now, I'm just going to go through the criteria. It says that we, in terms of losers, our 2, 3, 4 result is 4. Quick tricks, we've got 2 quick tricks, the ace, king. Okay, high card points, we've got 9. Okay, we've got 9 plus 5 plus 4 equals 18. Now, there is another requirement. Okay, if we go back to the previous slide, it said we need to have the 6 six spades and five hearts, or five in the majors, or five spades and four hearts. We don't have five spades and four hearts. We have five hearts and four spades. Okay. We do not have a planned second bid. We open one heart and our partner bids something. What are we going to bid? We could force, let's say they bid one no trump, forcing or semi-forcing. What are we going to bid? We can't bid two hearts because we'd be promising our partner six. We can't be bid two spades because we would be promising our partner an open or reverse, saying we've got a strong hand. So this one does not meet the exception requirement, and we're going to pass this hand. All right. We're going to get an opportunity to bid later, but we're going to pass this hand for now because we don't want to mislead our partner. All right, now we've talked about the opening bid at the one level. Okay, now I want to talk about preempting in the first and second seats. Okay, because this is another first and second seat open. Okay, first of all, I want to talk about when you should not preempt, because when you preempt in first seat, you're actually preempting two opponents and one partner, right? If you preempt in second seat, you're preempting one opponent and one partner. So you don't want to preempt in those situations where you're preempting your partner from potentially you and your partner from potentially finding a game or a correct fit. Okay, so if there is a possibility to make game, you don't want to preempt. Okay, so if you evaluate your hand, says my partner has X, Y, and Z, hey, this has potential, don't preempt. Okay, with four hearts or four spades as a second suit, unless you have a 7+ cards, 7 cards in your preemptive suit. Now, what this means is if you, let's say you've got 7 clubs and 4 hearts, okay, and you have preemptive values, the 7 cards overcomes the reluctance to preempt. I mean, you might have, let's say, 6 high card points in that situation. You'd want to go ahead and preempt potentially with 3 clubs. Now that can go either way. Okay, so whether you preempt the minor or not, that's your call. It's a judgment call. But generally, you do not want to preempt when you've got 4 cards in one of the majors. Okay, you also don't want to preempt when you've got 3 cards in one of the majors as your second suit, okay, with 8+ points. Now, here's the rationale for that. Okay, if you're in first seat and let's say you've got 7 clubs and 3 hearts, and you've got 8+ high card points. Okay, if you preempt 3 clubs, and this is first and second seat, you're preempting your partner. What if your partner has 5+ cards in the suit in the major where you've got 3 cards? Okay, you've just preempted your partner. You're not going to find that fit. You're probably not going to find the right contract. So we've got the potential of finding games based upon the number of cards you have in the majors and the number of points. Do not preempt. And you do not want to preempt the 2 5-card suits. There's lots of bids available later on for you to show that shape of the hand. Okay, if you decide you're going to preempt, okay, you're going to preempt if you cannot open 1 heart or 1 spade. We're talking about preempting in the major. Okay, with 5 hearts or spades. Now, I do an awful lot of preempting with 5-card suits at the 2 level. Okay, it's a lot of controversy over that today, but there's an awful lot of people that do what I'm going to call week 2 opens now with 5-card suits, because it's so obstructive and takes so much away from the opponents. Okay, so you're only going to bid the week 2 hearts or 2 spades if the 2, 3, 4 result is exactly 2. Okay, exactly 2, because if it's 3+, you're too strong to preempt. Okay, you're going to pass in that situation. if you're not strong enough to open, because you want to give your partner the opportunity to bid to tell you what they have. Okay, you do not preempt in hearts or spades above the 2 level with only a 5 card suits. There are some crazy people out there that will preempt 3 hearts or 3 spades with only a 5 card suit, but I'm not that demented. Okay, lots of weak 2s with a 5 card suit, but nothing above that. Okay, so that's the word of caution. Okay, with 6+ hearts or spades, preempt at the maximum 2, 3, 4 level. Here's where 2, 3, 4 really comes into play. Okay, because if you're 2, 3, if you've got 6 hearts and your 2, 3, 4 result comes out to be 2, open 2 hearts. If it comes out to be 3, open 3 hearts. If it comes out to be 4, open 4 hearts. Okay, I do not require or suggest you require that you have 7 cards to preempt at the 4 level. 6 is good enough. Remember, what's the purpose of the preempt? It's to get in the face of the opponents and to obstruct their bidding. Now, with going back here for a second, previous. Okay, in spades, you have a little bit more freedom. Okay, because 2 spades, if the opponents want to compete, you're forcing them to bid at the 3 level. If you bid open 3 spades, it forces them to bid at the 4 level. Okay, so, it's kind of a toss of the coin. Sometimes you can hedge your bets a little bit and preempt 1 level lower in spades. Especially, it's kind of a risk mitigation technique, but it depends. But I just want to point that out. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of examples here in terms of preempting. Okay, and in this first example, we have unfavorable vulnerability. The B factor is equal to 2. So let's count our losers. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6 losers. 7 minus 6. Now, B factor is 2. It says we can open this hand at the 3 level. Okay, it says it's safe to open at the 3 level. Now, but what does safe mean? It means that given the vulnerability, that on a score basis, on relationship to the score that you're going to receive on the hand, that the bidding at the 3 level will probably yield you the optimum result. Okay, if you bid 3 and you're not vulnerable, if in this case you are vulnerable and you go down 1, that's 100 points, right? Okay, now, so you can see the vulnerability comes into play, because if we were equal vulnerability, the B factor would be equal to 3. Okay, and if we had favorable vulnerability, the B factor would be equal to 4. Okay, so what this says is that given the vulnerability, we should be able to safely bid 3 spades. Okay, quick tricks, we've got 1.5 quick tricks. Now, are quick tricks a requirement for preempting? No. However, the more quick tricks you've got, the stronger that particular hand has, and the more usable those honors are going to be. In this hand, we've got the king, queen, jack. Good, 10. So we only have 1 loser in spades. So that's a solid suit. In diamonds, we've got the king, jack. So if the queen happens to be over here in our right-hand opponent's hand, really makes for a much better, sounder diamond suit. Okay, so it's how the cards fit together. The king jack together is much better, stronger than having a king in diamonds and a jack in clubs. So we've got 1.5 quick tricks. High card points, we've got 10. Okay, if we look at the rule of 20, we're up to 20. So we're really on the edge of being able to open this hand at 1 spade, but we're not strong enough. So we're going to want to preempt this hand. We're going to want to preempt this hand at 3 spades. We've got 7 winners. Okay, now partner is going to bid 4 spades if they've got 3 tricks. Now, one of the advantages of the 2, 3, 4 system is that your partner will know exactly how many tricks that you're away uh, uh, because of the use of the V factor, will know exactly how many losing tricks you have. So if you bid 3 spades here and your partner is sitting over there and go, aha, the V factor is 2, it's 9 tricks. He's promising me 7 winners. Okay, so now he goes, well, they're not guaranteed winners, but 7 winners. But if he's got three tricks, he's going to bid 4. It's one of the really important aspects of the 2, 3, 4 trick counting system, because it quantifies the number of winners and also losers from the opening bidder's hand in terms of preempts. Let's look at the second example here. Now, I'm throwing a lot at you, but there's okay, we've got a 5-card suit here in spades. Let's count the losers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 losers. Okay, but it says we are strong enough to open at the 2 level. Notice the V factor is 3. Okay, now let's look at the quick tricks. We've got 1.5. King, queen is 1. King is a half. High card points, we've got 8. 20, it comes out 16. So we're not strong enough to open. Now, should we preempt this hand? Remember, we're in first or second seat. The answer is no. Do not preempt this hand. Why? Because your partner may open 1 heart. If your partner opens 1 heart, you've got a great chance for making game with this hand opposite your partner's open. So you don't want to preempt your partner in this particular situation. Okay, you can always bid your spades later. Don't preempt your partner. Okay, let's look at example number 3. Now, in this one, we look at the shape, we've got 2 5-card suits. Okay, if we go through the criteria, it says we can open based upon 2, 3, 4. Quick tricks, we've got 1.5. We've got, again, 8 high card points. We add these up at 18. Now, we don't want to preempt with 2 5-card suits. Okay, we don't want to preempt with a 2-suited hand. Okay, we're not strong enough to open. We don't want to preempt because we've got preempts ourselves from being able to show that second suit. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pass, and we're going to get an opportunity later on to be able to describe this super hand. This is a really nice hand to have. Great shape. All right, number 4. All right, it's an interesting hand. Let's look at 2, 3, 4. It comes out and says the 2, 3, 4 result is 2. Okay, it's nice and shapely. We've got 5 spades and 4 diamonds. Okay, quick tricks, we've got 1.5. We've got 1.5 in spades. We have no other quick tricks. We've got 8 high card points. Okay, so we've got 8 plus 5 plus equals 17. The rule of 20 really doesn't apply to preempt. So I don't know why I put it on a slide, but I think I was being lazy and I didn't want to create a new format. But what we're going to do is we're going to bid 2 spades. You say, well, you don't have 6 of them. You don't need to have 6 of them. Okay, this is something that's becoming very popular with the more advanced players. Okay, in fact, I don't know any advanced players that wouldn't open this hand 2 spades. Okay, because of its obstructive values. I mean, if your hands are going to fit together, they're not going to fit together. Do you expect to make the bid when you preempt? No. Okay, but what do you expect? You expect to be able to obstruct the opponents. If you apply all of these rules that I'm talking about, you're going to be surprised. You're probably going to make your preemptive bid 70, 80, 90% of the time. Okay, so we're too strong. We're just strong enough to preempt this hand and bid 2 spades. Okay, and we're not compromising our partner in terms of sacrificing a potential game in hearts because we only have a singleton. Okay, so let's take a look at this next example here. Okay, we've got 6 spades, 4 diamonds, and three hearts. Okay, the V factor comes out to 4. Now you see the relative strength between these hands using the 2, 3, 4 result. It's not definitive, it's not really quantifiable, but it's relative in being able to tell you the strength of the hand. And after you use it for a while, you kind of use that as a differentiator to help you in terms of refining your bridge judgment. In terms of quick tricks, we've got 2 quick tricks. We've got 10 minus 1. We can't count that jack. It's unguarded. Okay, so it comes out to 19. All right, so this hand is actually really borderline in terms of opening it 1 spade. Okay, my guess is the majority of you out there would open this 1 spade. Okay, I would not open this hand 1 spade. I would pass. Okay, why? Because I don't want to mislead my partner into thinking that I'm a little bit stronger. Yeah, I know it's close, but I'm going to get an opportunity to bid those spades again. And when I bid those spades again, say I bid 2 spades later on, my partner is going to know that I've got at least 5 of them, probably 6, and I'm just a hair shy of being strong enough to have opened that hand. Okay, so by not opening, it's actually giving me the capability of describing my hand more exactly later on. Okay, now let's take a look at this hand. That's an ugly looking thing, isn't it? We've got 2, 4, 6. We've got 8 spades though. All right, the V factor is equal to 4. Okay, and let's calculate this. We can actually open this hand at the 5 level. Okay, we got 7 minus 6 plus 4. We open this hand at the 5 level. Okay, we got 1/2 of a quick trick. Wow. High card points, we got 3. Well, if we look at in terms of the rule of 20, we've only got 15. We ignore that. Okay, so what should we bid? We should bid a minimum of 4 spades preemptively. Actually, this is a hand that occurred at the Virginia Beach Regional about 6 years ago. It was against the Polish national team, and those suckers opened the hand 5 spades. Okay, we had a cold slam. Needless to say, we didn't get slammed. We doubled them, but they got a really good board because they opened it 5 spades. Okay, so they maxed that preemptive value of that particular hand. Now, if you look at that realistically, okay, how many tricks would they have to go down in order to compensate for a slam? You've got doubled, got not multiples, 1, 3, 5, 8, 11, 14. They've got to go down 6 tricks. Okay, we look at this, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we'll go back previous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 losers. Okay, the probability is that they're only going to go down 6, maybe only go down 5. It's a slam dunk to get a top board. Now, it was in a team match. They got a great score on imps because they got in my face and I couldn't bid. All right. Well, that concludes the basic lesson for the day. I mean, there's an awful lot of information in this lesson. And in terms of understanding what hands you should open, which ones you shouldn't, and why, and setting the stage for the bidding and the rest of the auction. Now, there's a number of hands here that I've included that I've used before in a Zoom follow-on game. But we're not doing that. So I've included them there so that you can see the use of these bids in relationship to the lesson. So what I'm going to do is come back over here, and I'm going to allow you guys to unmute yourself. But before I do that, I'm also going to stop share. And I come over here. Where is I want to turn off the recording. Where does the button go? I can't find it. Breakout room. Oh, there's stop recording. There we go.